Sean Little, Kate Constable here with you on Bet Sweats. Sean, I'm fairly high on the Broncos, and I will give you my whole laundry list of reasons here in seconds. But I want to start with you and figure out where you gauge where your confidence level is in Denver this upcoming season.
Yeah, well, Kate, Saturday we talked about how good we think the AFC West is going to be. It's going to be stacked. I'm high still, even after the Slater injury on the Chargers. I still think Harbaugh is going to have those guys ready to go. The run first offense, maybe put a little more emphasis on Herbert coming into this year. I think they're going to be really good. The AFC West is going to be stacked. Denver's going to be right there. As a bettor, my initial gut always is to be a little contrarian because it seems like everyone's high on the Broncos. I haven't heard a single negative thing about the Broncos. I'm a Bill Simmons listener. Diana Rossini was on, and she talked about talking to Sean Payton. They go all the way back to his New Orleans Saints days. And Sean Payton is high on Bo Nix, loves him. He randomly texts Diana Rossini, "I love my quarterback," talking about Bo Nix. So the juice is high. And if you go through like their depth chart, not a lot of big name guys. They only have 5 players on the roster that are banging 10 million or more on the cap. So they're flexible, and 2 of the top 3 are offensive and defensive linemen. So they're going about it the right way while they rebuild and deal with that Russell Wilson number. I'm high on the Broncos, but I think the Kool-Aid may be getting a little too sweet overall, because more times than not, when the Broncos come up, everyone says top 3, top 4 defense in the NFL, and Bo Nix is going to take another leap. So I'm a little weary when we're talking about 10, 11, maybe even 12 wins. Some people are projecting for the Broncos. So I'm not as high as you, I think, Kate.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, which does scare me because it's never a good thing when the public is all on one side. But I just believe in the tandem of quarterback and coach, Sean Payton, Bo Nix. And you talk about the defensive line, the offensive line for the Broncos, and they're solid on both sides there. Where they lack is talent on the outside. Like Courtland Sutton really is not a true number 1 receiver, right? Like, can we agree on that? They probably need a number 1, and having Sutton as your number 1 right now probably isn't going to get it done unless you're Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen can play with a grab bag of receivers without having a true number 1. I think Bo Nix will need that throughout his career.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think every quarterback in the league wants a number 1, right? That takes guys to the next level. If you go throughout the years, we know football's the biggest team game. If you go through some of these, every quarterback had a guy that they went to consistently, and they both needed each other. For example, I was actually in a deep dive on Jordy Nelson the other day, just remembering how good he was. But when he leaves Aaron Rodgers, those numbers dip a little bit, Then Devontae Adams shows up, and that's his next guy. So yeah, of course, Bo Nix would love to have a number 1, but Courtland Sutton is very good. And for a second there, you sounded like Terry McLaurin's agent. Like, Courtland Sutton's not even a 1. He got a deal. Where's my deal? So, but yes, I agree with you. When you start thinking of wide receivers in the NFL, Courtland Sutton doesn't come up until we start talking about, I would say, outside the top 10, you can argue.
Yeah.
So they've gotten a ton of production out of him. He's been very good. But yeah, if they could add some more talent on the outside, that's why this is such an intriguing story. It's because Sean Payton has turned this thing around with the dead money from Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
The defense is a lot better than I think a lot of people thought. And then we know Sean Payton's going to have the offense on track. So Bo Nix, of course, would love to have a number 1, but they got it done with Sutton as the key guy last year. He's now paid. It's second year under Bo Nix. The verbiage, the consistent voice of Sean Payton in his head should be able to do wonders in year 2. But the Kool-Aid is extremely sweet.
Yeah, it is. Broncos also added tight end Evan Ingram, who should be able to make a little impact. The running back room is interesting to me because you bring over J.K. Dobbins from the Chargers. Dobbins can't stay healthy. 13 games last year.
Yeah.
He's only played in 37 games in his 4-year career. He's never made it through an entire year. 2 years ago, basically out the entire season with an injury. You draft RJ Harvey coming out of UCF, second round, 60th overall. I think RJ Harvey is someone that you look at, Sean. Like, if you don't want to play any sort of Broncos futures, whether that's Super Bowl, AFC, even win the AFC West, playoffs, anything like that, I think Harvey could be someone that, going for his season-long player props, 700.5 yards, rushing yards this year. I'm not confident Dobbins can make it through the entire season, or at least have the workload. Like, maybe they split reps more evenly with Harvey and Dobbins because of the injury proneness that J.K. Dobbins is. So Harvey would be someone I would look at for over his season-long rushing yards. And I know we haven't even seen him in actual meaningful game action, but just knowing the role he's going to play, I think that is something that's worth a look.
Yeah, I agree. I think RJ Harvey is a good look because if you go back to last year, as much success as the Broncos had, they got off to really poor starts and they were kind of scrambling and leaning on defense to turn guys over and make plays that way. If this team does take a leap and Bo Nix takes a leap, it'll be a lot more of a balanced offense and them not trying to throw the ball or not needing to throw the ball and try to come back into games like they did last year. So Harvey is a guy that would get a lot of touches alongside J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, well, number one, I'm team never pay the running back, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe I make an exception for McCaffrey, Barkley in those situations, but I would still, even after all the success they've had, I think Barkley was a very particular situation because of how run heavy and how good up front the Philadelphia Eagles are. And then you add Jalen Hurts, and they could just run them. I'm confident, sincerely, that the Eagles could run the ball every play when they had Jason Kelce, and they could potentially score 17, 20 points a game and just run the clock out on people. But when you remove situations like that, I'm always team don't pay the running back. Just go get a lot of looks at different guys. Harvey is a perfect example of that. J.K. Dobbins is a guy that has a lot of mileage, even going back all the way back to Ohio State. Really good back, but yes, has a hard time staying healthy. And if this team does take a leap, they get very balanced offensively, and RJ would get a lot of touches.
Sean, in terms of Broncos futures, I'll play over 9.5 win total. I think that is doable. I'm not going to play them to win the AFC West. The only reason I would do that is like any sort of insurance if Patrick Mahomes goes down. The Chiefs have won the division every year since 2015. So I guess that's coming up on, a decade? And the games that the Chargers have against the Chiefs this year, they're in tough spots. They have the Chiefs, who are coming off of a bye in week 11. Not great for Denver, and Denver's going into their bye after that week. And then they play on Christmas Day. It's a short week. That's a Thursday, and that game's in Kansas City in week 17. So I don't think the Broncos win this division. Again, the only reason I think that if they cash a division ticket, it's because something drastic happens in Kansas City. But I still think they could get to 10 wins. The sabotage factor there, I think, is you look at the quarterbacks that Bo Nix faced last season, and it was Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. You had Spencer Rattler, Kirk Cousins after he started playing really poorly towards the end of the season, Jameis Winston. Like, the quarterbacks that Bo Nix is facing this season, significantly better than last year. So if my 9.5 win total loses, I think it's going to be partially because the quarterbacks that Bo Nix faces, like, maybe he doesn't quite level up to them in year 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was shocking that the Chargers won 11 games last year in year 1 for Harbaugh. Then, of course, Kansas City couldn't lose a close game. They go 15-2, and Denver was still able to pick off 10 wins. Now, early in the year, they play Tennessee at home. That's a win in Cam Ward's first start. Then they go to Indianapolis. That should be a win. But after that home game against Tennessee, 3 of the next 4 games are on the road, with the home game being against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bo Nix should be able to move the rock and score points on that Cincinnati defense, but Cincinnati's going to put up a lot of points. Couple mistakes there. As much as Joe Burrow and the Bengals are going to be coming in offensively thinking they have to score every possession, there might be a stretch where defensively the Broncos are like, if we can get a stop on more possessions than not and not put as much pressure on Bo Nix, that's going to be their key to success. I think a lot of the talk is about Sean Payton, Bo Nix offense. They're going to be a defense first squad, and not have to open up Bo Nix to make a mistake. So it's a really interesting betting situation because Tennessee's a win in week 1. Then we go to at Indianapolis. If they win that game at Indianapolis, they're 2-0. The win total probably goes up to 10.5, potentially even 11.5. But then you have a tough stretch. You got to go to LA. Then you play Cincy, as I mentioned. Then you go to Philly. That home game against the Jets. How good are they going to be? So yeah, I would agree with you that I would have to bet 10 plus wins at a juice number. But it's going to be a lot tighter, I believe, than a lot of folks think.